Welcome to the Modern Insurance Agents podcast. Today, we're talking about the Target Audience Playbook, how to find your people and get paid to be yourself.
Welcome to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast.
We're your hosts, David and Elle Denning.
What happens when a millennial couple dives headfirst into the insurance world, scales $1 million remote business, and decides to share the journey with the world?
You get the Modern Insurance Agent.
Here, we reveal the messy, magical, and sometimes hilarious realities of building a business and a life you love.
From traveling the globe to building remote teams. Yes, even working remotely on top of a mountain in the Philippines. We're sharing insights, strategies, and plenty of laughs to help agents and entrepreneurs succeed.
Because let's face it, success isn't just about hitting numbers.
It's about designing a life that works for you.
So let's dive in and build something extraordinary together.
Most insurance agents say they help everyone or anyone, but that's why no one's listening. In this episode, we're going to give you the exact playbook to define your ideal audience, connect deeper, and finally build a business that feels like you. So, Elle, can you tell me, what are some of these mistakes we see with agents being like, I want to help everybody under the sun?
Yeah. And before I dive into those mistakes, head on over to jumpstartgonow.com/podcast to get the most up-to-date playbook for your organic marketing strategy.
That's right. We don't want to miss those resources. So go grab those as you're diving in, and we'll make sure that you get that later on as well. So, Elle, as we are hopping in, talking about who agents truly help and why that's important, how they can put that in place, and why that's going to help them be so much more effective and profitable in their business. Let's first talk about the problem point in the first place.
Yeah. So one of the big things that we see with target marketing, and this is a big foundational gap in a lot of marketing strategies that we look at for insurance agents, that they're really trying to serve everyone. I've heard things from if they fog up a mirror, then they're my target audience. If they've got a pulse, then they're my target audience. Basically, if they're living, if they're breathing, if they're walking around on this great earth, then they're my target audience. But that's one of the biggest marketing mistakes that we see agents make, is being way too broad in who they're wanting to connect with. And by trying to be a generalist and try to speak to everyone, they're actually capturing the attention of no one.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if you're looking at a solution really for anything, and someone's like, oh, we have a solution for everyone versus, oh, we have a solution for these people. And you're like, oh, that's me. Like, that's me specifically. Like, this is going to be ideal fit for me. And we'll give you some examples, whether it comes to buying a car or whether it comes to what school my kids are going to. When it's more targeted, it's more effective. And this goes the same with the way I speak to my clients, my audience. If I'm trying to talk to everybody, that's almost impossible because they're all different. They all have different pain points. They all have different ways they grew up. They all have different buying habits. They have different communication styles. All these things affect whether I'm effective or if I'm just noise that passes them by getting no results. So I don't think it comes from a bad place. Let's be honest. Like, a lot of people get into insurance. Yeah, sure, income potential, but a lot of them also realize that it's really important. We're doing things like, protecting people's most prized possessions, their health, their loved ones and legacies, their wealth. All these things come into play here. And so it makes sense that agents are like, hey, I want to help as much people as possible, and it's coming from a good place. But the problem is, coming from a marketing and sales perspective, is actually hurting them and keeping them from helping as many people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would argue that not clearly defining a target market actually comes from having a scarcity mindset, because I see this all the time, that of course agents, they want to help everyone, but I think that the core fear there is that they are afraid that if they say, this is who I help, then they're going to be missing out on some sort of opportunity by turning people away. And it's not so much that you're closing the door on those people or that you wouldn't be willing to help those people if they came into your office or if you got a phone call from them. It's just that when you are marketing, you're becoming known to help a specific group of people. So I call this the Goldilocks rule when it comes to target marketing. You don't want to go way too broad where nobody really knows exactly who you help and how you help them. And you also don't want to go way too narrow either. You want to find that sweet spot. So David, I'm going to put you on the spot here, if that's okay. And I'm going to provide some examples that we hear commonly. We already talked about I help everyone. That's not a target market. We've already defined that. But I'm going to read off some other ones that we commonly get. And I would like you to tell the audience here if that is too broad, too narrow, or just right.
All right. We're about to play the Goldilocks game. Let's go.
All right. Let's go. I help families.
There is a lot of families that I think everybody has come from a parent in at some point in time. Unless you tell me if you didn't come from a human being, I'd like to meet you. We should have a conversation. In fact, I'll get you on this podcast. But with that said, almost everybody can qualify as a family. And so, yeah, way too broad, even though people think that, oh, I'm already defining a little bit by saying families, and you're really not excluding almost anybody as a part of that.
And just a note on that, sometimes I've seen families, individuals, and business owners. Still not a target audience, even though you're calling out 3 widely huge groups of people. All right. So I help families, too broad. What about I help busy moms?
I help busy moms is getting better. I think that can fall close to just right. I think one more qualifying factor could help get that to about where you want that to be. Because I'll be honest, have you met too many moms that aren't busy?
This is very true.
So you're basically saying I help moms, which is a good percentage of this population, still not defined enough, which is why I say busy's relatable. I don't think it really helps qualify it too much more. If I said busy and stressed out or ever, I'm getting a little bit like, oh, they're not just busy, they're stressed. And so I'm providing a relief to that stress in some way by making sure their kids are protected. But I just find that still a step further, whether it's, busy moms with toddlers. Okay, now I've got in a specific age range, and there's specific things that toddlers, need, the type of doctors they go to, the type of preschool they're in, that sort of things that helps me now target everything around that for my messaging, referral partners, speak to their pain points. I've gotten just a little bit more targeted. So I'd say busy moms, still too broad, but it's getting there.
I love it. So good. And also, I really like that you're bringing in a life stage into it by anchoring in the toddler and bringing in an age range of the kids, because moms, you're right. All moms are busy, whether that's their young ones, or even maybe they could be busy in SAT prep and getting their kids ready to go off to college. 2 very different life stages, preparing to be an empty nester versus adjusting to being a fairly new parent with young children in the household. The pain points, needs, and the messaging is going to be a lot different based off of that life stage.
Yes. And before we zoom in, I'd like to zoom out a little bit on why is this not talked about a ton with target audience? And I don't think it's really the fault of the agents at all. I think it's just kind of the state of the industry. That's why we're talking the Modern Insurance Agents podcast is things have changed, and there's a reason I really want to know my target audience. And in reality, a lot of agents aren't even told they need to think about this or know this, because there's one of 2 options generally when they come in this industry. That is really facilitated by all the IMOs and FMOs and carriers. And that's where, hey, just worry about the product, right? Because you're going to buy leads for whatever final expense, mortgage protection, home insurance. You don't need no target audience. You just get the leads for the products that you offer. And okay, cool. I never have to think of a target audience. It's a lead for home insurance. Cool. They're probably interested in home insurance. That's it. I don't have to think of an audience. Or hey, talk to your friends and family and get them to buy whatever you need, whether or not you're your target audience at all, right? And those are the two methods that have really existed in this industry where you don't have to really think through your target audience that much. And we're coming from the opposite side, where if I want that target audience coming to me, I want to be known for that thing. I want to be more effective with what I'm doing, get to work with people I enjoy working with by being myself. I need to know that target audience. And that previous example we just talked about, you saw is once I got to that Goldilocks fit by adding in the extra, with toddlers, all of a sudden I have so many things I can think about that is specific to that target audience that I'm like, oh, this helps me be more creative, speak to their pain points, be more effective versus, man, how do I talk to everybody? That's impossible because it doesn't make any sense. There's no way. So hopefully that kind of zooming out real quick, why we're even discussing this before we kind of dive in more specifics from there helps a little bit.
I love it. And so what is a target audience really? I feel like when we ask this question, a lot of the responses that we get are either I help everybody. That's probably the most common one. Or it is a little bit more vague, like I help families, business owners, seniors, which again, it's going to still be too broad, not really hitting that Goldilocks perfect fit target market. But the other thing that I think people respond a lot to is just like demographics. So age, we see this a lot also in home and auto PNC side, like certain zip codes that they're living in, household income, age ranges. Those are all things which are part of a target audience, but those are all things that we consider demographics. And so why are demographics alone not really a target market?
They don't really tell us a lot. I mean, I could go by ages a little bit, and the only thing that's going to be a big factor in is Medicare. If they're not old enough for Medicare, then yeah, they might not be my target audience, but my target audience could be the kids of whose parents are now hitting Medicare age. And so once again, age doesn't always mean everything, because 150-year-old's not the same and same life experiences, same thoughts, same beliefs, same do they have kids or not, like as another. And so age range, zip codes, they don't tell the whole story. And it's kind of hard, like, oh, this zip code, what specifically am I talking to that really hits people that live in this zip code? Really all kinds of things, because still a variety of audiences there. So I want to get beyond the demographics to the actual person themselves so I can be more effective. Like, I think when we think about it, people want to talk to a whole stadium. And in reality, we're talking to maybe a specific area or even specific person. Like if I was talking to a whole giant, think of a huge football stadium that you've been to or seen on TV. It's so many people. But if I'm thinking, oh, I'm talking this VIP section over here and these individuals here, their experience of that game, what they're there for, who they're there with, what they're talking about is vastly different than someone up in the nosebleeds that might have a very different life experience and experience at the game, right? So think about how I talk more specifically to areas there also of target audience, right? And so at the end of the day, target audience is someone that I want to attract, help, and that I want to build my message and even my brand around to be known for this thing. And we have clients that, have found all kinds of unique ones, whether they're, helping, commercial truck drivers that want to take their wealth and be able to protect their family, but also build that tax advantage to be able to get off the road sooner to be able to retire and spend time with their family. That's a specific audience and specific pain point. Or another one is, a client of ours that's focused on becoming known across the country for helping protect commercial food trucks with insurance, and has built a whole entire brand, Food Truck Freaks, and stuff around that as well. And so that's where, when I have this audience, I can just be a lot more effective. But it's not zip code, it's not just age, it's not just the stage of life they're in. It can come down to the interest, the passions, the hobbies. Maybe they're a veteran or not, or had family members that were. A lot of these things play into that.
Yeah, I love that. And I also think with your demographics, you're almost like treating people like a number, essentially. Like that's what I really hear you saying and how you're explaining this. And it's not to say that demographics aren't a part of the research that you should be doing. Like as a PNC agent selling personal lines, you probably should know the zip codes that your policies are going to be most competitive in. But that's just a data point. You also want to know in those zip codes, why? What is it about your policies that make you competitive in those particular zip codes? It likely is because maybe they're a dual income house. Maybe you're able to sell multiple lines. There's probably some key trends or factors that you can start to understand from your demographics that are going to help you better understand their buying habits and who they kind of are as people based off of life stage, hobbies, interests. Maybe it's like classic cars or boating or RV, some of these types of things that they're into, or maybe their kids all go to similar schools. Maybe it's private school, maybe it's public school, maybe they're involved in similar kids sports. Those are the types of things that give you hints to better understand your target market. It's not that demographics aren't a part of this research, but you really want to think about it as clues into what the combining factors are. What are the trends in a certain target market? And how do your products really help that particular target market? And if you, at the end of the day, if you really understand how your products help that specific group of people and you're able to clarify and simplify it for them without using insurance jargon or overcomplicating your message, but that you can clearly explain to them why you are the best choice for them, that's what gives you the competitive advantage in your marketing. And that's why they say riches are in the niches, is because you're essentially making yourself a category of one or a category of just a few that not only know that they can help a certain group of people, but also can clearly explain why their products are so helpful for that particular demographic.
I love it. And the important thing to take away there is Elle took a hard stance that it's niches, partially probably because it rhymed with riches instead of niches. So, we take a hard line stance. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on that. How do you pronounce it? So,
I think that's the only time I say niches is so that it'll
I know, right? Because she wants to make it rhyme. So, but with this, I think a good example that also is closely related to insurance to talk about a little bit of that is like real estate agents. Think about the really good real estate agents they know that area so well. They know the schools. They know what's going on. They know the city council, government. They know what activities are going on, how that zip code is shifting, all these things, because it helps them be able to speak to their target audience really well and sell themselves as part of that knowledge and the expertise of, I want to work with someone that knows this area, can help me find the best fit, versus someone that has no clue on anything that's happening in this area because they sell all over the state and they have no specialty in this area. I'm going to work with the agent that specializes locally where I'm looking to buy, and they're going to know a lot about that, right? So it's the same thing with insurance, like on knowing my target market and a lot about that. And honestly, sometimes when I have that level of knowledge, that connection, they know I specialize in helping them specifically, it's not always going to come down to, am I the cheapest versus, you're the best and you're the agent that I would like to work with. And I've seen sometimes in swings of thousands of dollars that they're like, no, I'd rather work with you. Whereas a lot of agents feel like someone's a penny cheaper, they're gone, they're out of here, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not the agent you want to be, where you're just competing on price and just like each person's a number to you. It's going to be a tough game.
And I love that you said that, because that really does come from understanding your particular target market. So people will pay more when they feel like their situation is understood by a professional. I mean, I think you could think about it like any professional, a lawyer, a doctor, somebody that, is a finance coach, money expert. If you feel like, wow, they really understand what's going on with me, like think about a doctor. If the doctor is asking you certain questions of, maybe they're trying to diagnose, like you have headaches or something like that, and they repeat back to you, oh, well, are you also experiencing dizziness and ringing in your ears? I'm just making this stuff up, by the way. I'm not a doctor, but
What?
but if you come in and you're like, I have headaches, and then they're also like, oh, well, do you have this, this, and this too? And you're like, yes, I am experiencing those things. Don't you feel like, wow, this person, they really know what they're talking about? Because I didn't even have to tell them about all this stuff, and they already understood all of this other pain that I'm experiencing. Of course, you're going to trust their recommendation. Of course, you're going to take their prescription that they are writing for you, because you feel like they really understand and they're properly diagnosing you. The same thing happens with your marketing. When people see your marketing, or you sit down and you have a sales conversation with them, and you're asking them the questions, and they're like, yes, this is me. This is me. And they feel like that, they're with you. And like David said, they're not going to be looking for the cheapest option, because they have belief in you, and really the recommendations that you're making for them is the right path for them. It's the best way that you can build trust and authority with your audience. And the only way that you can do that is by deeply knowing and understanding a particular target market.
And I'd like to lean into that just a little bit more before we lean on, or move on. Lean on, yeah. Move on before we move on to the kind of the next area a little bit. And who gets paid more, generalist or specialist, right? And and that's and are they known for something in particular, or just everybody goes to them? So let's take doctors and attorneys in the first place, right? Like you have your general practitioner, general practice doctor, whatever. That's what I go for my checkups, whatever, touch base, everything, general physician. And then you have your cardiologist, you have your optometrist, you have people that specialize in certain things. So if I've got a heart problem and issues with that, am I going to go to my general doctor for that? No, I want to go to a cardiologist. That's their specialty. That's what they know. And heck, I have a very important problem that I want solved. I'm going to the specialist. Same thing with attorney. If I got in a car wreck, am I going to the real estate law attorney? No, that doesn't make any sense, right? I'm going to go to personal injury and get paid, And so with that said, though, right, like there's a reason people specialize, and they're not like, well, am I giving up all the people with eye problems because I'm a cardiologist? You think the cardiologist cares? No, they're known for that certain thing. They get that certain thing. They're very good at that certain thing, and they refer off if they're not, right? And so you want to take the same approach to your business. You'll be able to attract that audience better, keep that audience better, be known for that audience better when you define that down a little bit. So I just wanted to lean in because I feel like that made a lot of sense there. So let's talk about a couple quick examples of good audiences there. So with that, like, I'm a fan of a little bit of pickleball myself. So I like this target audience is pickleball loving seniors who want to protect their lifestyle and wealth, right? And so I'm not just seniors, right? That could be anything. That could be everything from your D-SNPs and final expense to your annuities that they're, retiring on their yachts, that have yachts for their yachts and helicopters, right? It's very different, right? And so, it could be the people that, hey, are disabled, wheelchairs, can't really move too much, versus the people that are on the pickleball courts, like, running people around, right? And so that's still a wide audience. So when I get this specific, I can tie in passions, hobbies, and interests, even some of my own, into that as well. So if I'm talking pickleball and I'm talking fitness with seniors that love that as well, and now I'm kind of able to transition into wealth and legacy and enjoying pickleball for longer and in your retirement, like I've mixed all this stuff together in a defined audience, but also different ways I can talk to them as a part of that too.
That's great. So again, hitting that Goldilocks example there, and I'm really glad that you talked about the senior audience specifically. Again, we get that I help seniors, especially for our Medicare agents that are working with people that are turning 65. But right now, at the time of recording this in 2025, there are 12,000 people turning 65 every single day in the United States. So it's probably a little bit too broad there. We need to start thinking about narrowing it down. I met with a client today, and he was sharing with me his target market that he's been working on and developing through our program. And I absolutely loved this so much. because he works with the senior market, but he's really defined his target market as active seniors that see retirement not as the end, but as the beginning. And I was like, oh, that's such a, like, that just hit in like such a special way for me, because I was like, it says so much about who he's looking to connect with, people that are using their time to be active in their communities, invest in hobbies, do things that they haven't done before, maybe learn a new skill, take risks that they haven't taken in their lives before. Like, that speaks to me on who that person is that he's looking to connect with in a much more powerful way than, oh, I helped anybody that's turning 65 this year. And there's like such a deeper emotional connection with that.
Absolutely, guys. And so as we're going through this, start really thinking through like, okay, I get it. Target audience is important, especially if I want people that I want to work with coming to me, working with me, and people that, hey, it makes sense as a part of that too. Start thinking of that yourself. Like, okay, I'm not just a product. I now want to focus on an audience. Now, how do I define the audience down? So that's what we want to talk about, is what goes into defining and niching that down besides just demographics and that we were talking about earlier. And so like, cool. So challenging you guys to start defining this down a little bit. I promise there'll still be plenty of business left to write, right? So, so how to define target audience. So Elle, what are some of these things that go in to help them think through this, and some exercises they can do themselves?
Yes. So the very first question to ask yourself is, who do I actually really enjoy working with? And if you're brand new in the industry, this can be a difficult question to answer because you haven't worked with any clients yet. And you might have to use your imagination on who it is that you really feel like would be a dream client for you. And something I just want to give you a piece of advice here is like, your target market is going to evolve. Your niche is going to really make itself clear the more that you do this. So don't be too scared to just get started. And also, as you're having more conversations with people, you might pivot a little bit, and that's okay. But you really want to think about, if you worked with some clients, maybe you have a book of business, there was probably some clients that like really made you feel good. Like you were like, man, I really enjoyed working with them. Maybe they're clients that you tell your family about, or that like you went home from the office or got done with your day, and it was a story that you were really excited to share with your family or a friend about how you were able to help somebody or how you made an impact for them. And maybe you shared that story about that client. I know David and I do this all the time. We really, because we get so much joy from the work that we do, there are clients that stand out to us, kind of like that moment I just shared with you guys about our client that shared with me his target market and how he had so clearly defined that. That for me lights me up. I love it when clients have those aha moments. And so if you're new, you might not have this experience yet, but if you've worked with some clients now, you've likely had one or two, or maybe a lot of experiences where you were like, man, this work feels really good. And so start there. What lights you up? What makes you excited? And who are those people? Think back and then start thinking back, okay, what life stage were they in? What situation were they currently in? Ultimately, how did I help them solve a problem? That's likely why you got that feeling of that you really contributed, that you really helped them because you helped them solve a problem. Or they were maybe really appreciative of clarity that you gave them, or maybe you explained something that they were like, man, nobody's ever explained it to me like that before, or nobody's ever taken the time to really help me understand the coverages on the money that I'm spending here. Think back to who those people were, start making a list of them, and then start thinking about, are there any commonalities with these people? It's really good if you can make a list of like 3 to 5 people that you've already worked with, and think about like, did they have kids? What life stage were they in? Were they homeowners? Where did they live? And then ultimately, what was the problem that you helped them solve?
I'd say think about this too. Like, you get to pick your target audience, right? You get to have input as a part of this and define this and you know, of course, that once you want it to be people that you can help, right? That I can actually provide, you know, coverage to that. But ultimately, like, if I can work with a audience that wants to work me, that I also enjoy working with and have a good time, and it reduces stress, it makes me more time efficient, I can now grow my business easier and more profitably as well. Because I want to think of what are some factors that lean into whether, you know, it's potentially something that might result in a chargeback or not, or just going to take up a whole bunch of extra time and stuff. This is where, like, oh, for people working with seniors, like, I might take a niche of, I work with tech savvy seniors as part of a target audience. How much less time do you think they would spend on, here's where you click to finish your policy, here's where you sign here, hey, I can't turn the computer on to see my Medicare policy, I'm across the country, I can't come help you turn your computer on. So think about this. Not, I'm obviously just kind of making a point here, but when I get to define my audience, it could be audience that I know I'll work really well with, that won't cause me stress. There are people that are like, will literally quit insurance when they realize they're going to have to provide tech help to people all day long and be like, that's not what I signed up for, right? Versus there are people that get a lot of joy out of that and go in the extra mile for their clients, right? And so if I get to define this, why wouldn't I define something that I absolutely love these people, they are passionate about talking to them, I'm excited every single day to help these particular people and solve their pain points, which maybe I resonate with those pain points myself. Maybe I've been there in the past. Maybe I, was, someone is a busy parent themselves, dealing with someone, kids transitioning from middle school to high school and sports, and like, I've been there, absolutely understand and get that, right? And so I, enjoy working with them as a part of the discussions and topics. We can all tell bad dad jokes together, whatever. I don't have an excuse. I'm not a dad, so I just tell bad jokes, period. So anyways, so with that said, or ever, I take this into account. This is your chance to really create and define, and like Elle said, it'll evolve over time, the actual audience you really, really want to work with that still fits within, some of these defining points, right? So, if it relieves stress, you enjoy it, you're going to do this business longer. And honestly, you're going to have more success with it as well, versus getting stressed out, right? And wanting to quit. And there'll still be some days like that. Even if you have the best audience in history, there'll still be some days, but there'll be less and fewer in between. And you're going to get so much joy to make up for those challenging parts as well.
I love it. And I've got 2 more points that I'd like to touch on before we move on from this. And the first I'll keep short, but don't just chase the highest premium just because somebody else in the industry told you, oh, you can make a lot of money selling IULs or annuities or commercial policies or whatever it is. If you don't feel alignment with that target market, and also if you don't feel very confident in how you can help that target market, don't make that your target market. Because again, you guys probably saw me get like really excited and passionate about being on fire and lighting up when you're able to help a certain group of people. Go after that, because when it gets hard, and it always does because it's business, that fire and that passion and thinking about the people that you're able to help and really understanding how you help them, it's what's going to keep you going at the end of the day. And not only that, but your target market is going to feel that from you. So do not just go after the biggest premium. If you see, of course, like we all like money and we enjoy making money. So if the highest premium policies that you can sell also is a target market that makes you really excited, go for it. But don't let that be your only driving factor. And then if you're sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, David and Elle, I understand everything that you're saying, but I really just don't know. I really just don't have a lot of ideas about who my target market would be. And especially if you're new and you're just getting started, sometimes the easiest place to start with target market is thinking about yourself and people that are like you. And it's easier to get started this way because you can exactly put yourself in your target market's shoes because it is you. So when you're thinking about life stage, pain points, benefits, think about yourself. How could life insurance help, or any type of insurance, not just life insurance, help somebody like me? And you can take it from that approach. And most people that get started in any type of digital marketing and go down this path, a lot of times when they get started, that's exactly where they start, is they want to help people like them. And again, it's totally okay for your target market to evolve. But hopefully what's clearly coming across in this conversation is that you are marketing to a specific group of people and being targeted in your approach instead of just trying to be very general in your marketing.
And, take Elle and I, for example. Like, is our target audience all insurance agents? Absolutely not. No, thank you. not our target audience. Is to find more. And some of this is just even around, personalities, desires, some of the stuff as well. As you can tell, Elle and I, we're like to be very personal. We like to have fun. We like to talk about this. I would say someone who is like, well, this is the way things have always been done. Very serious, like views jokes and being personal is unprofessional. Like I shouldn't ask personal questions besides what I need to write that app. Or, hey, technology's not for me. I don't want to learn it. Don't want to touch it. I'm just trying to get out the last few years and retire. This is not our target audience. The people that make excuses that, hey, I want to never take action on things like this, it's not going to be a good target audience for us. We're definitely not going to enjoy working with them, as we really want to help agents that want to make a change, that want to learn things, put things in place. As long as they're open, that's some of the main things we look for. But also, if they're personable, fun, and really have a passion for helping people as far as growing their business, that's more of a fit for us, because that's also stuff we like to talk about, have fun with as well. Like the people that are like, listen, unless you're wearing suits and ties, you're not professional. As you can tell, we don't necessarily fall in that suit and tie demographic there. And so if people are like, listen, it's a hard no, unless I catch you in a designer suit, then it may not be the target audience for us, right?
And we also really enjoy taking time with people too. Like we're very relational in all of our interactions. Like I think that comes across in our marketing. We're probably a little verbose. David's pretty talkative, if you guys haven't noticed. So if you're a person that it's not a bad thing.
Sounded like it.
But if you're a person that's just like very like cut to the point, I don't want to like chit chat, like that's also not us either. We enjoy getting to know people on a human level. It's very important to us. This is at everything, every stage of our business, even with our team. When we're interviewing people, before we talk about past experience or anything like that, we're always like, tell us one fun fact about yourself, or outside of work, what do you enjoy? What hobbies do you enjoy? What type of interests do you have?
Tell us about your pets. That's some of the most important things. Like, do they have pets? Are they a cat person? Are they a dog person? This tells us a lot of things about them, right? So you got to have pets to be on our team. I mean, it's just kind of like,
it seems like a non-negotiable.
It's a non-negotiable.
So anyway, all of these things are things that really come across in your marketing. They're going to be things that you learn more about as you have more conversations with your clients. As you start thinking about this in this way, you're really going to spot trends between those clients that are clients that you really enjoy working with, that really light you up. Start taking notes about that. Like have a notebook or a notebook on your phone that you use, where you're really paying attention to some of these things as far as trends that the clients that you enjoy working with, what do they have in common? And that's a really good place to start with this.
Or we could take this into the 21st century and the modern insurance agent, and they could be doing this inside of ChatGPT and AI, taking these notes and starting to help refine and work through this target audience as well, which
Totally.
is something to talk about as well. If here's some, strategies, worksheets, types, things I can think through and work through this. And, this is where, if you don't have AI, you haven't touched as well. One, you need to learn it. That we'll talk about that plenty in some of these. But number two, if I don't have it, it's just talking to another person and able to bounce some of this stuff off of a little bit. They may have insights. Hey, have you thought about that? No, you know what? That is a key point of my target audience and who I really do like working with. And I didn't realize they had that in common. So sometimes just talking to another person is great to bounce that off of.
Absolutely. Especially if you have like transcripts from your calls, or you're taking these notes and you're uploading it to ChatGPT. ChatGPT might find some trends for you that you weren't even like aware of. So trends are very, very important to help you better understand your target market. Okay, David. So when they have their target market and they're starting to think in this way, more specialized, less generalist, why is this actually, I know we've been talking a lot about it, but why is it actually beneficial? Like, why do this?
So cool. You did this, you defined your audience. Like, now what? How is this helping me? So the first thing, it helps my messaging, which is a lot of things. It's what I'm saying in my post, what I'm saying when I'm talking to people, how I describe what I do. All the messaging's almost anytime I'm communicating, period, is my messaging. Helps this to be more clear and specific and defined, meaning it's more effective, meaning my target audience is like, you're talking to me, you're hitting all these pain points, you get me, preach, you got this, like you are, I'm working with you, baby. Like, that's when I have defined messaging. Sounds like that versus like, just another insurance agent jabbering on like this, whatever, skim past it, right? And so it helps me be defined in a lot more at what I do. And this means, cool, I'm more now clear on what I'm posting, for example, when it comes to social media. So now it takes me less time to plan. I know exactly who I'm talking to, what I'm saying, versus like just trying to talk to everybody. It makes this easier, more effective, and produces more results at the end of the day. A lot of people like, cool, I get social media is powerful, I'd love to do it. Spun my wheels forever, posting a whole bunch, got nothing. And it's because they're trying to talk to 30 different audiences at one time, versus I got clear and defined, and now I got a ton more results for a lot less work. And so messaging gets a lot more clear.
Absolutely. And one of the key foundations that we teach in our social media marketing strategy that makes it very effective is we teach an 80-20 principle, where 80% of your content is really focused on like non-business related things. It's more about showing your personality, your values, interests, hobbies, because that's what people come to social media for. But with this, when you know who you're speaking to, like busy moms, for example, you can create content, busy moms with toddlers. You can create content for busy moms with toddlers. And if you start posting hacks for moms who have young children to save times, like, these are 3 things that I do in the morning that help us get out the door faster. And somebody is seeing your content on social media and they follow your advice and they do those 3 things, they'll be like, wow, I followed Elle's advice. And those 3 things, they really did help us save some time in the morning. Now, when you're talking about insurance or money advice or finances, do you think that they're going to be a lot more likely to trust you because you gave them helpful information that they already applied in their daily life and it worked? So when you're thinking about your target market, it really helps clarify not only what to post because you know who you're talking to now, but it also helps you build this trust with them around things that aren't necessarily business related or have to be business related. Like your pickleball loving seniors, for example. If he posts a video or a tip about, serving for pickleball to fix your form or something like that, and then somebody is like, oh, I'm going to try that tip. And then they do it and they totally nailed the serve in pickleball. Don't you think they're going to trust David more now? Because again, he gave them helpful information that they were able to apply and get a result inside of their lives. So trust building, rapport building through your content doesn't have to just be through educating them about insurance or finances or money. It can be all of the other things that they're interested in too. Trust building and rapport building does not stop. So you always want to think about, how can I add value to my audience in a way that's helpful, educational, entertaining to them, that isn't always about insurance or business.
I love it. And getting back to the busy moms of toddlers, right? Like, this not only value, but humorous approach. And this is why also when the audience ties in to like even us in some ways, it can also make it even easier for creating content. Like, could have a video of you like, hey, fighting off problems for my insurance clients to help protect them. And it can have your toddler throwing stuff at your head, dumping food on the floor. Yeah, like your toddler like jumping at you out of, trying to scare you. And that would be a funny, humorous take, but relatable to the busy moms of toddlers that you're talking with, right? So you can see how this connects all around. But, let's take this to the next step. Having this defined target audience helps me also in who's going to be the best referral partners for me that deals with that target audience that can send a lot of these over. Like, if I mostly deal with, senior, like fitness, pickleball loving seniors, for example, right? We'll just keep that example. Who's going to be a better referral partner? Like a pediatrician or someone that runs a Silver Sneakers fitness for seniors community, right? Probably going to be the person running the Silver Sneakers that's involved with a bunch of seniors that love fitness versus the pediatrician dealing with young kids and new parents, right? And so when I know my target audience, it makes it, clearly these are the people they interact with a ton as far as business and trust a bunch. These are going to be the referral partners I absolutely want to start building relationships with, that ends up resulting in a lot of business sent my way, right? And so a lot of people take a spray and pray method, once again, because they want to help everybody with the referral partners. And cool, here's the business card, throw it in the shoebox, nothing ever happens, versus actually taking a targeted approach.
I love it. It also just makes you stand out more. And honestly, like, you come across so much more more professionally when you are approaching a center of influence or a referral partnership, and you understand their business. Like the Silver Sneakers example would be like, oh, so you work with seniors that are fitness minded, that are caring about their health, they're investing time and energy into their wellness. That's who I help too. And so again, it goes back to the doctor analogy of like, oh, you have this, and this symptom. And like, oh, yes, I do. The same thing is true when you're developing referral partnerships, when you can really understand who they help and also uncover a way that you guys can collaborate together to help that specific group of people. If they love their target market that they help and they have that same like fiery passion that you do, you guys are going to connect on that. That's instant value right there. So again, when you're more that specialist, when you really know who you're talking to, it's going to help you a ton on referral partners. And then also, how does it help on connecting with people through social media, David?
So taking that same idea and now defining it to social media specifically, right? I think a really great example of getting directly in with audiences of my prospects, potential strategic referral partners, like I just talked about, is Facebook groups, right? I'll use that as an example. There's Facebook groups for everything. People in Ohio with orange cats, guarantee there's a group for that, right? Like there's a Facebook group for everything. But when I know my target audience, I know a lot about them, who they're involved with, pain points, things they're looking for help, support, or to learn on, communities they're looking to be a part of for support and stuff there. I can find these Facebook groups that fall into local areas, the groups and communities they're a part of, and I can be a part of these and end up connecting with both my prospects or groups that my referral partners would be in. When I clearly know chiropractors are really amazing referral partners for me, I can be in groups that have a lot of chiropractors or around chiropractors in there as a part of that. Now I can be pulling this audience out or connecting directly with my clients based around interest and passions or hobbies, all these things that I know. Like the busy moms of toddlers, I guarantee, are in some Facebook groups around, tips for raising toddlers, right? The terrible threes or whatever.
Just in there commiserating.
They're
with each
commiserating,
other.
right? The mommy groups, right? I'd be a part of all these mommy influencer groups and stuff there to connect with the audience that I want to connect with. So versus there's 100 million different Facebook. Which ones do I join? Which ones are effective, right? So this helps all of that.
I love it.
And business starts to feel fun again, right? Like when you're like, man, I'm clicking. My audience loves me and I love my audience and we're rocking and rolling. They're sending me all these referrals in business because they want to send all of their community that they also are a part of. Like when we define something, moms with, busy moms with toddlers, who are they also spending a lot of time around with? Moms with toddlers that are busy as well, right? And so they're able, hey, everybody over this, you should come to David and Elle. They specialize in helping this group, and you should come talk to them because they help me and they're amazing. They get what busy moms with toddlers are, need and want. Now all of a sudden you just get a bunch of business referrals.
I love that. All right. So as we kind of round out the segment here, David, what does this ultimately mean for getting paid to be yourself? Let's bring it all together here. I love that you started to touch on having fun with your content, which, let's be honest, if you're having a good time and you're enjoying what you're doing, you're going to do more of it. So we already know that social media is huge. Like if you're not using social media, you're behind. But if you're watching this, listening to this, then you're likely already using social media to some degree inside of your business. But that is something that I hear over and over and over again from clients. This is so much more fun than I thought it was going to be. And so how does that alignment allow people to be more themselves, have more fun with their content?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you feel aligned and you realize who you're specifically helping, how much you're helping them, and you enjoy these conversations every day, it makes you essentially really end up creating a brand that aligns with your values, your lifestyle, where it's like, man, my business is me. My business is my life anyways, but not in a bad way. Like, oh man, I'm a slave to this business. More so like, oh, my whole things I enjoy, what I like and get, fulfillment from is what I get to do every day. It's so much easier to do this day in and day out, be successful, love what you do. And that comes through to your prospects and referral partners of being like, man, this person is passionate about this. I love them. They do an amazing job. Let's get more to them, or I absolutely want to work with them and send more referrals over too. It really helps you have this business that ultimately probably a lot of agents, like this is their dream to be able to do this versus like, man, I don't really feel aligned with what I'm selling or who I'm helping. That's tough when it doesn't align with it and you're not enjoying it.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, when you do really approach your marketing this way, when you're very intentional about who it is that you want to work with, you're ultimately attracting those people to you, and you're just talking to more people that you genuinely like. I think we all have been on those calls before, the sales calls before, when you're like, oh my gosh, this person, they're just draining all of my energy away from me. And when you market this way, you're ultimately talking to way more people that give you energy. That's not going to say that you're not going to have hard days, that you're not going to work with clients that really just make you want to pull your hair out and make you question everything. But ideally, you're having more positives, way more positive interactions. And the people that are the ones that really suck your energy, those are the ones they're in the small minority compared to the massive majority of clients that you're working with. And like David said, like that gives you more energy and also helps you show up in a way that not only to your sales calls, but also to your marketing and creating content out of a place of enjoyment and out of a place of empowerment, instead of like, oh my gosh, this is just another thing I've got to do today.
And also when your brand and your target audience match, you stop forcing sales. Yep. You just start attracting those people come to you, and it's just conversation, solution you have for them, move forward. So one of the nice things about this is you can actually suck at sales if you're doing this really well. If you're doing this really well, I don't have to even worry about trying to keep someone talking to me or trusting me or taking them through to a solution. They're already like, listen, you kind of already sold me on yourself. Like, show me how this solution works. Yeah, that's what I needed anyways. Cool. Fantastic. Let's go. You're like, oh, I didn't have to handle 30 objections. You weren't like distrustful, think is insurance a scam? I think you're a scam, right? And it's like, no, it's easier, right? So if you want to not have to even be as good at sales because people are just ready to work with you, then yeah, this is a solution right here.
I love it. Okay, David. So what action should people take after listening to this podcast?
So you might not be able to do it just by the end of this podcast, but I challenge you to define your target audience in one sentence. That doesn't include the word everyone. So, so if you can't do it right now, go practice that a little bit, think through this, take a little time, and then come back and drop in the comments of, hey, after doing that, this is what I define my target audience as, and knowing that I can still refine it and evolve it over time as well. What else can they do, El?
I love it. So also remember that you can head on over to jumpstartgonow.com/podcast. And we have all of the show notes, including the questions that we were going through that you can start thinking about that help you get more clarity on your target market, as well as lots of other marketing resources that you can use to help grow your business organically.
I love it. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode of the Modern Insurance Agents Podcast. We look forward to seeing you on the next one.